Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Smart and Safe Small Business Podcast. I am here with the highly regarded and well-known attorney, Sam Malai. Sam, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Alex. I'm excited. We've been talking about doing this for a while, so I'm excited to be here and share some volley bombs with your audience.
Awesome. So, Sam, you specialize in business formation and entity formation, right? So, tell us a little bit about who you work with.
I started a virtual law firm. That means I'm able to work pretty much virtually from anywhere in the world. I help entrepreneurs start their own business. So whether if you have any idea of basically making your own money and being your own boss, that's how I'm able to help you.
And help us understand, what do you do? What problem do you solve for them?
It's the legal aspect of starting a business. So the paperwork that's required to be set up correctly up front. That's basically we take care of all the paperwork so that you don't have to figure things out by yourself.
So help me understand at a very high level the nature of the paperwork. What are the things that someone who's starting a business needs to do, and what are some typical problems or symptoms of problems that people have when they're starting to start their business for the first time?
Sure. So the typical questions is where do I start? What do I need to do? What forms do I need to fill out to be able to start my business? So it comes down to those top questions. Once when you're at that stage, that's where people to come and talk to us. Then we come and first we listen to where you are, where you're based, which makes a difference for how you're going to be set up. And second is what type of business structure we have to set up for you. There's three different types of choices for entrepreneurs. There's either an LLC, which is by far the most common for most entrepreneurs. And then there's C corps, which is not as common, but it makes sense if you're from Canada or some specific countries. And then also U.S. residents and permanent resident, permanent residents in here in the United States can also form an S corporation. So if you're, let me just make it very easy for most of your audience. If you're U.S. residents, your two choices are either an LLC or an S corp. Typically, LLC will be the better choice. However, if you make over 70K, $70,000 or more a year, then you might be able to save more in taxes, and you'll be able to save probably $5,000 to $10,000 a year by being tax elected as an S corporation, either by setting up an LLC that's taxed as an S corp, or by setting up a corporation that's taxed as an S corp. Basically, be able to save more in taxes. Um, and then, so those are the two choices if you're a US resident. If you're a non-US resident, typically 95% of the time, LLC is going to be the best choice for you. As I said a little bit earlier, there are some certain countries where their own tax treaties treats corporations. It's a little bit more tax friendly to have a C corporation. If that's the case, that's where we kind of need to talk to us to clarify those things for you and be able to kind of help you figure out exactly which one you should probably start.
So it sounds like you help first-time entrepreneurs and maybe repeat entrepreneurs avoid making costly mistakes when they're first getting all of the paperwork figured out. So what are some mistakes that business owners will typically make if they're trying to do this on their own?
Number one, there's two big mistakes. Is one is setting it up in the wrong state, which is based on a lot of misconception that gets posted online. There's a lot of companies that do this, and in order to be able to kind of leverage content and uh, pretty much using blog and articles, there was a lot of talk about setting up your company in Delaware and New Mexico and Wyoming and and Nevada. You typically want to avoid that advice. So if you're, and here's the answer. If you're a U.S. resident and you live in the U.S., you want to set up your company in the states where you're physically located. So that means if you're in Florida, you set up your LLC in Florida. If you're in California, you set up your LLC in California. Um, I don't want to get into the technicalities of why and we shouldn't. If Let me just put it this way: if the answer was, hey, it's just better to set it up in Delaware, then and to avoid quote unquote state taxes, then everybody would just set it up in Delaware and be able to avoid quote unquote state taxes. So it's a huge misconception. So the answer is ultimately is set up your company in the state where you're physically located. Second part is what type of business is right for me. So that goes back to the choosing have understanding your business, understanding how much you're making, what your company structure is going to look like. Are you going to have a lot of employees? Do you want to keep things simple, or or you want to be a little bit more technical and try to save more in taxes? Then in that case, S corporation is better. That's something that we could be able to talk it out with you to kind of figure it out for you.
Very good. So for entrepreneurs out there who are looking to go out and start their business for the first time, what is one free action or tip that you would suggest that they put in place today that's going to help them?
Is to talk to somebody who can help you throughout this process. A lot of times people kind of fall into the trap of trying to do everything themselves. And then, business starts, life happens, and then a year later when they have to do their taxes, they go to their accountant and the accountant is like, "Wait a minute, you're still set up as a sole prop or you're set up this way." And there's a lot of backpedaling, or sometimes you even have to just pay the repercussions. You have to be, paying more taxes or whatever that is. So you always want to make sure you set up correctly from the get-go. So if that's the case, you should talk to an advisor. We offer a free consultation at our website. You'll be able to talk to us. We'll give you a free 30 minutes. You'll be able to ask as many questions as you like and be able to use that information. If you think we're a good fit, then be able to help you, take care of it for you. If not, you'll be able to take that advice and do whatever you want with it.
And I think the key word here was talk to someone. Don't Google it and take your advice from some random website. Probably taking legal advice from some random webpage in general is a bad idea, but especially when you're starting your business, right? This is your asset. It's what you're creating for your future.
Yeah, and a lot of times these blog websites are written by content writers and people. They're just assigned that somebody tells them, "Hey, go write me an article about what type of LLC," and then they write this. They sit there and write, whatever they could get their hands on. So a lot of this article is just marketing material. Instead,
And
talk to somebody who actually lives and breathes it and helps clients in that regard.
and speaking of which, I mean, you guys are one of the best. I mean, you've done how many now? How many thousands and thousands at this point?
at least
Lost
five
count.
at least 5,000 clients we've been able to help. Probably closer to 6,000 if we're taking into consideration all of our sister companies and parent companies involved. But yeah, 5 to 6,000 entrepreneurs we've been able to
So
help start their
Sam
business.
is the man if you need help with entity formation. So Sam, what's your website? How can they get in contact with you?
So the website is mollailaw.com. That's MOLLAEILAW.com. Or you will to Google my name, just Sam Mollai, then you'll be able to go to my website and you'll be able to actually enter what we call a funnel. And from that, there'll be a video that kind of explains this whole thing. And then you'll get an opportunity to be able to book a time to speak to me or my team. And from that, then be able to basically be able to help you.
Very good. And we will have a link to your website in the video description and also on the blog post here. So listeners, that's where you can go to find Sam. So Sam, last question here. What's one question that I should have asked you, but I didn't?
Is how do you basically it's how do you make money? How do you how do you what's the fastest way to become self-reliant and get clients and get customers for your business? And the trap that most entrepreneurs make is they get involved too much with the branding aspect of it, making a website, doing all the exterior stuff instead of dealing with the important stuff. The important stuff is actually going and getting clients and testing out your offer to see actually if people actually need whatever you're offering, and actually people are gonna exchange their money for whatever that is. So always, always, always go test your offer first. Make sure at least 3 people are willing to give up their money for whatever you're offering. If you see 3, then it's good news. Then ideally, maybe even go get 10. If you have 10, you're golden. Then go, set everything up. Then go set up your business, and take it from that. So always make sure you flip it around. Don't worry about things to avoid. Website, business cards, email newsletters, and things like that. These are all like formalities. You do not need any of those formalities.
And Sam speaks from great experience because he's got multiple companies and lots of employees and has started many brands over the years. So listen to him. Well, thank you so much, Sam. Really appreciated speaking with you, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you so much, Alex. Appreciate it.